Have you ever wondered why you get that sudden, gut-wrenching urge to just sell everything when the market drops? Well, we're about to look inside your own brain to find out exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can stop it for good.
I want you to go back in time for a second, back to March of 2020. The headlines were terrifying, your portfolio was just a sea of red. Do you remember that heart-pounding feeling, that raw, just overwhelming need to hit the sell button and make the pain stop? Maybe you did. And if you did, you need to hear this. You weren't being weak. You weren't being undisciplined. You were being human. You were acting on an ancient survival impulse that's literally hardwired into your DNA. So where does that feeling, that primal urge, actually come from? Well, it's not from a textbook or a financial model. Nope, it comes from the wild. Here's the really wild part. Your brain, my brain, all of our brains are running on incredibly old software. We're talking software that's been perfected over millions of years for one single job. Keep you alive by reacting instantly to any threat. You know, rational thinking, that was a much, much later update. So how does this ancient alarm system actually work in our modern world? Let's dive into the neuroscience of what is physically happening in your head during those moments of financial panic. Okay, meet the star of our show, your amygdala. This tiny, almond-shaped bit deep in your brain, it doesn't do logic. It doesn't care about PE ratios. It is a simple, powerful alarm that screams one thing at the first sign of danger: fight or flight. And this is the absolute crux of the problem. Your amygdala, bless its primitive heart, cannot tell the difference between a lion charging at you on the savannah and a sea of red numbers on your computer screen. To this ancient alarm, they are the exact same threat signal. Identical. And look, this isn't just a cool theory. A groundbreaking study at Stanford actually put investors inside fMRI scanners and watched their brains. And what they saw was incredible. Watching your portfolio drop triggers the exact same brain activity as looking at a picture of a snake or a spider. Your brain is literally, physically registering financial loss as a threat to your life. So this all leads to a state that neuroscientists call an amygdala hijack. This is when your emotional alarm system completely takes over. It hijacks your rational, logical brain. And during these moments, let's be clear, you are not making investment decisions, you are making survival decisions. And get this, during that hijack, the blood flow to the logical, long-term planning part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, can drop by as much as 30%. Think about that. That's like unplugging the CEO and letting a terrified intern run the entire company. The real-world consequences of this are just staggering. Research from the University of Chicago found that during the 2008 financial crisis, investors who showed higher amygdala activity were 3 times more likely to sell at the absolute market bottom. Their ancient instincts literally took the wheel and drove them off a cliff. And you know, this hijack happens fast. Just look at this timeline. Within 5 seconds of seeing all that red, your amygdala ignites. By 10 seconds, stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are flooding your system. By 20 seconds, your rational brain is already going offline. And in less than a single minute, that primal urge to just stop the pain takes complete control. Okay, but here's the good news, the really good news. Now that we understand how the hijack works, we can learn how to interrupt it. We can hijack it right back. So let's get into the protocol. All right, here are 3 scientifically backed techniques that you can use the very next time your amygdala tries to take over your portfolio. Think of this as your new toolkit. First up is the 90-second rule. Harvard brain scientist Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor discovered that the entire chemical reaction of an emotion, from the moment it's triggered to the moment it dissipates from your bloodstream, lasts just about 90 seconds. So when you feel that panic rising, close the laptop, set a timer for 90 seconds, and just breathe. That's it. Let the chemicals flush out. Number 2, name it to tame it. Now, research from UCLA found that simply labeling an emotion with words actually activates your rational brain and calms down the amygdala. So you literally say it out loud. I am experiencing an amygdala hijack. I know, it sounds a little silly, but that simple act shifts you from being the emotion to observing it. It's a game changer. And finally, maybe the most powerful tool of all, the pre-commitment contract. This comes from behavioral economics, and the idea is so simple. When you are calm and rational, you make a contract with your future panicked self. Because in that moment of crisis, you can't trust your emotional brain, but you can trust the wise, rational you who sat down and wrote these simple rules. So let's be really clear about the goal here. It's not about becoming a robot or feeling less fear. You know, the best investors on the planet, they feel fear just like we do. The difference is they have built systems and protocols to manage that fear, to make sure their rational brain stays in charge when it matters most.
I want you to never forget this. Panic selling is not a character flaw. It is not a weakness. It is simply biology. It's 200 million years of wiring that saved our ancestors from lions, but can absolutely destroy our wealth if we let it run the show.
So now you know. You know exactly how the hijack works, and you have the tools to stop it. The only question left is, what rules are you going to write down on your pre-commitment contract right now, today, to protect your future self from your ancient brain?